And we're live.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our SAP Community Monthly Migration Series calls. This is our second one of the day, and Craig and I are delighted to have you all join us and appreciative that you're taking the time. For today's call, we're going to talk through what we've been doing and planning for our migration overall, and the reasons why we're doing this and how we're doing it and when. We would like to make sure that you all are part of this journey, so we want to be as transparent as possible. And this is one of many ways that we'll be communicating with you. As always, we would like your feedback, answer all of your questions, and again, make sure that you're part of this journey. So for today's session, we've got Craig Cmehil. I'll be turning it over to him shortly. And again, for today's call, we're just going to go through the migration announcement overall, and also exciting news that happened today in regards to the new user experience. We'll discuss some of the new features and the differences between what you've been experiencing with the community and what to experience now moving forward. As I mentioned, this is our second session for the what we're referring to as the monthly migration series. Ultimately, here we want to bring you all together, have us come together, learn from each other, hear from the experts who have been working on the migration, and share with you any and all details. And again, make sure that you're part of this process before, during, and then again afterwards. So here are all the sessions that we currently have planned. We might be adding more based on your feedback. If you'd like to have more, we're happy to do so. So this is what we've got planned so far. But again, this is for you, for us, and we want to make sure we accommodate all of your needs and all of your questions. So with that, Craig, I'm turning it over to you.
All right, thank you very much. And good day, good morning, good evening, whatever the case should be based on what part of the world you're in. It's very dark here in Central Europe, but we are excited to be on this call and to dive right into talking about our new home for the SAP community. This is the kickoff of our migration, and as Stacy said, we are on a full journey here of sharing as openly as possible with everyone about what's coming. So what's going on with the SAP community? For those of you who are familiar with the community from the days of SDN to SCN to SAP community, we have grown and outgrown a few times over the years with just the sheer number of you participating in the community. And we are there once again. We have hit some limits on some of the existing elements and features that we've had available in the community platform as of today, and we are looking to expand and to future-proof going forward. And therefore, we have worked together with a vendor. This vendor is named Koros. They have a community purpose-built platform that they make available, and we are diving into it. In fact, we've been using it for several months, well, actually over a year already, and we've been very excited and happy with the performance that we've found with it. And so we made the hard decision that it's time to make some changes and to expand and future-proof. With that, we're also going to be adopting full-on what many of the other digital platforms that SAP is, including several of our events. So if you've registered for SAP TechEd already, you've already been exposed to the SAP Universal ID, or if you participated in the SAP Sapphire earlier this year, again, the Universal ID was required. Universal ID is a mechanism by SAP to enable you to control and handle and manage your multiple different user accounts. So for example, if you are a partner and you work with multiple different SAP customers, you may have a different login for each one of those customers to be able to help them and enable them to get the support that they need. And the Universal ID is one of these mechanisms put together and able to bring all of those accounts together. Now, from a community setting, whenever you created content, it was based on whatever user you were logged in with. So by having the universal ID and being able to bring those accounts together. And especially now, if you do it today, you're also able to take advantage of our merge functionality, where it will pull together all that content and put it into your primary account going forward. So if you've had multiple accounts over the past 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and you've created content on various different ones, you're finally able to pull those together, merge the content, and have a single account going forward that you can use to create all your future community content as well. So we're really excited for that. So to give you an idea of the timeline, how we've been working here and where things have been going, just to make sure that, you know, everybody sees, back in 2021 of October, we actually launched the Khoros platform, providing the first groups that we had available, things like SAP Learning, SAP Tech Ed, and things like that. And of course, our Coffee Corner. And watching and seeing how this worked for over a year, and knowing that some of our elements of the platform were already at their limits, we finally made that decision that what we will do is go ahead and do a full migration of all of our Q&A and blogging content into the same environment that our groups are currently running with. We started doing this with some user testing. We've done a couple of rounds of user testing already. A lot of great feedback coming in on this. We will be doing, of course, future user testing as well as we move forward. We want to continue to make sure that we take into account the different needs of our audience and everything like that. And the initial user testing has already helped to shape our UI and net new UI experience that Stacy alluded to that went live today. So I'm sure you've noticed, if you've gone to the group's platform today, that it has a whole new user experience and user interface, very much in line with other sites for SAP like SAP Learning. And we're working hard to bring these two closer together so that community members are able to seamlessly move between the different properties with a great experience. But in the end of August, we announced this full public migration. And of course, we also talked about these events that were going to be taking place, where we do these live sessions for open Q&A. And that's where we are today. So we're really excited about that, kicking off these series. We did a session about 6 hours ago today, trying to keep up with as many different time zones as possible. And of course, doing this session as well to reach further time zones. We also launched in September 5th, a blog post talking about the Universal ID and everything like that. So of course, if you need more information or if you need help with your Universal ID, support is standing by to be able to help you get yourself sorted out and get you onto a Universal ID. Because once we do the full final migration in December of this year, of course, you will require a Universal ID to log in. And of course, we want to make sure that you have that and you're already ready to go. Going into 2024, we will continue with doing our live sessions, helping get everybody on board. We will do continued user testing as we ramp up for the next release, the next version of the platform that we're using, which will come in the second half of the year. So exciting times ahead, being able to take advantage of an industry-leading vendor who creates a software purpose-built for community. So we're really excited about it. So next slide, please. All right, so we, of course, want to make sure that everybody's on board. And what does that mean? That means you have the opportunity already today to sign up and subscribe. You can participate already in the welcome corner, asking and commenting about your community engagement or the first time you heard about SAP. And of course, we've launched a brand new What's New area, which is actually interactive. You can subscribe to this, you can comment, you can like, you can share. The whole idea here is we want to make sure that we give you as many opportunities as possible to engage with us and to be able to get the information you need when you need it. And as you can see from the screenshot there on the right, you can already see a bit of the new user interface and design, which we're really excited for. It launched about midday today. Central European time, so early morning on the East Coast of the US. We went live with this new user experience and everything like that. So we're hoping that you like it. If you've already seen it, we'd love to get a little thumbs up or a comment from you in the chat that you've already seen the new design. Tell us what you think about it and everything like that, because your feedback is absolutely important to us. All right, so next slide, Stace. All right, so feature highlights live today. What do we have available today? So we have our discussion areas where you can connect to your different peers, coworkers, friends, colleagues, everybody in the community that you can talk to and interact with. We have activities that you can take part in. So if you're not familiar and you are more on the technical developer side, or you have a very big interest in the technical and the developer area, we launched about a day and a half ago, actually, or closer to 2 days now, the Devtoberfest. So the Devtoberfest is a really great online virtual experience, all about coding, all about developing, all about the tools and the services and everything like that are available. And it's just a fun activity. There's a game board and challenges and contests and everything like that. Pettoberfest, of course, is coming up, where you share pictures of your pets and everything like this. So that's a big thing taking place. And of course, if you haven't registered already for SAP Tech Ed, we have both the virtual component as well as the in-person component, as well as watch and code parties, ASUG Connect, and the SAP Insider event in Copenhagen, all taking place in the November timeframe. So plenty of opportunities to get involved, plenty of opportunities to interact. And you can join the SAP Tech Ed group that we have available. With that, we also have event listings. You can look at all the various different events. You can participate in just certain interest groups. So for example, if you're interested in application development, women in technology, enterprise architecture, information architecture, there's groups for you. And we also have multiple location-based groups. So we have a thing, we call them the city-based groups. So for example, Newtown Square, Dallas, Munich, Bangalore. These are all groups that are available where you can just go in, interact, and have a conversation with other people local to the same area, same city that you're in as well. We also have our SAP Learning group, where if you have questions about different certifications or learnings or journeys and whatnot, you can go there and ask your questions. And finally, we're really excited about, we have a career corner where you can actually, customers and partners can actually submit their own postings here. And there's also postings from SAP directly. And this is all inside of our career area, career corner, where you can look for different opportunities and read very interesting pieces that are being published about how different requirements are, what types of certifications could help in a certain types of job role and everything like that. So lots of interesting stuff going on. And in December, like I said, we will be taking all of our blogging content and Q&A content and merging that together with our homepage and our resources pages inside of the same environment that groups.community.sap.com live under. And then, of course, all the URLs and everything like that will be fixed and redirected and everything. So community.sap.com will still remain the home. And then we'll just be expanding the environment more so in that regard. All right. Lots to go on here. Some new design highlights. I'm not going to read every single one of these. I just wanted to touch on a few different ones, things that could be a very big interest to you. There is absolutely enhanced search capabilities within the platform. Everything from, operators in the search, from being able to use the ands and the ors to be able to search for multiple different things. You can search for the tags, you can search for areas, you can first search for keywords and labels and message tags, user tags. But what's really cool is you can also save your searches, so you can bookmark them, or you can even RSS subscribe to your searches. And the really fun part about the searches is it also is date relative. So I can say, show me everything that's at least a week old or at least a month old or something like that. And actually that search remains and stays persistent. So if I look at it 2 months later, I'm still only seeing the things that is at least a week old, which is really fun if you're a power user or if you're somebody who's very focused on a certain area because you're on a learning journey yourself and you're trying to learn about new technology in that area. Fun parts about this is just the fact that there is subscription options throughout the site. You can subscribe to tags, you can subscribe to user areas, you can subscribe to whole areas like boards, like the Q&A areas or the blogging areas. You can subscribe to whole categories. So if I'm familiar or wanting to follow along everything technology related from SAP, I can actually subscribe to the entire category and get notifications. The notifications are extremely granular. I can set daily digest, weekly digest. I can have an immediate delivery, and so on and so forth. And so there's a lot of fun features in there. And those are all features you can actually start setting today. So all you have to do is go over to the groups, log in. It's your same login that you're using in the community today. You will have to set that username initially. Please don't use your S number or your P number. Use your name or an alias that you like to use. And then you can actually play around with your settings today and get everything set the way you like it. And then as we bring more and more content into the environment, you'll already be a step ahead. The UI, of course, is the big thing that we did today that launched today. So the initial changes to the UI are already in place. A lot of great feedback on that already. We're really excited about it. And of course, we're adding some additional navigation, and we'll touch on that in just a second here when Stacy goes to the next slide. All right, so today we are still dealing with two separate platforms, right? So we have our existing platform with that menu and navigation across the top. And then of course we have the groups environment with that menu and navigation across the top. Now, from now until December, we will still have these two separations like this. However, in December, we're going to start to be merging these two platforms together, the two environments together, and bringing all of this nicely there. And by doing so, we're also going to be switching from our content type approach, so answers and blogs. We're going to be switching from that to a more structured approach, which on the next slide, we'll highlight that a little bit more specifically. And what you see here is we have categories. So we're adding 8 categories initially to the site. You can see them here. They're the typical ones that you would expect in the SAP space: CRM, ERP, HCM, PLM, SCM, spend management, technology platform, and of course, financial management. Each one of these areas will, of course, have their own Q&A environment, their own blogging area for SAP content, and their own blogging area for community content. And of course, you'll be able to search within each of those. You can also subscribe to each of those or to just areas within each of those. And so we're really excited about that. And then on the next slide, what we'll see is how we're going to merge the existing stuff that we have there today in this environment, namely the actual groups. And you'll see we have activities, the interests, the regional areas, so the location-based groups, industries, influence and feedback, where we have a bunch of our different programs like SAP Mentors, SAP Champions, etc., all in place. And of course, we also will have a subset of group areas for the SAP SuccessFactors user groups that are also in that environment today. So they will have their own area there to make it all of the SuccessFactors customers be able to find those particular groups much quicker. Also across the menu, you'll notice we have our partner area. So if you have a partner login today, if you have one, but you haven't been using it, remember Universal ID will be able to link those together, and then you'll be able to access the entire partner area as well. So if you're familiar with the partner area, we have the partner delivery groups. These are different areas where partners are able to get specific information and things like that to help them. A lot of robust information in there, and we're really excited for that. And then, of course, we have our topic pages, the event listings, and then our about resource type areas. And then just the overall change of putting a higher emphasis and focus on the user-generated content, and of course, redesigning the UI to bring more information to the forefront for each person as they start to use it. All right. And here we'll just start into the Q&A, the feedback area. We do have some things that have come in from the earlier call, from online, from the website and everything like that. So we'll address those first. And then, of course, if you have a question, feel free to type it into the chat. Please keep in mind YouTube chat doesn't like links. So if you're Unless you're the channel owner or whatnot, it may not allow you to post your link if you're putting a link with your question. So please bear with us. But if you have questions, feel free to ask. Until then, we will dive into some of the ones that we've already received. So from a blogging perspective, can the same blog post be authored by more than one author? This is something that we get on a regular basis. Can we co-author together? The platform actually has this capability. We are exploring it. It didn't work the way we actually thought initially. And so we want to do a lot more testing post-migration. Once we get everybody into the environment, everybody gets familiar with the new way, the blogging and everything like that, because it is slightly different than our existing platform today. Once we're in, so post-migration, so starting in January, we'll start to explore this as a possibility. And if we can enable it, we certainly will. We know it's been a request from the community for a while. We just want to make sure that we do it the way the platform is meant to work, because we want to, of course, try not to do too much customization to the platform. All right, badges, kudos, reputation, gamification, will those all be carried over? Yes and no. We are going to recreate every existing badge that we have in the community, and everybody will get rewarded and acknowledged for the badges they've earned once we start the migration. However, this is a purpose-built platform designed for community interaction, community engagement, and it has a whole robust gamification system in place. With that said, we're not able to necessarily do things one-to-one. So we have some badges that we do today that are set up in certain ways that we may not be able to completely replicate. So what we've decided to do, we will reward anybody who's earned the badge already at the time of migration. We will acknowledge that, and anybody who's made progress in those, that will be reflected in what's called the rank ladder, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But then we will be launching new badges going forward. So we're also very excited about that because it's a very robust system that gives a lot of capabilities. So we're excited. Now, the rank ladder, what we talked about, this is where if you have points, if you have things like that, within the platform, this is what's going to help to basically level set you. Where will you fall in the rank ladder? And the rank ladder starts at the very basic, like I've logged in, I've registered, but then it goes all the way up to the top, like I'm a masterful blogger who writes wonderful things with lots of interaction and everything like this, and answer lots of questions and all of this. And these rank ladders basically allow us to position users, give everybody a kind of a status of where they are, and it also allows us to assign additional privileges and additional permissions as people move up or down those rank ladders. And so what we'll be using is we'll be using a lot of the different things that didn't necessarily get applied with the badge, like you haven't earned that particular badge and things like that already. We're hoping to compensate for that with these rank ladders. So hopefully, nobody's going to be completely shocked about where they land in the community or where they stand in the community from that perspective. We're putting a lot of effort in that. We're on our second test migration right now, and with each test migration, we basically do distribution of the users across all of the different rank ladder positions, and we look to see, does this make sense? Does this not make sense, etc. All right. Some additional questions that have come in. How will the existing content be migrated? This is all a technical migration. This is nothing for users to worry about. There will be some users where potentially they have a blog post that's maybe 20 years old that nobody looks at anymore. I mean, I myself have several hundred blog posts, and some of them from 20 years ago don't have anybody looking at them today, in which case we may be removing some of that content if it's not being actually viewed or looked at. All of the users who are impacted by this will be actually directly contacted by us, but there won't be any action on their part related to their content unless they want to go into the people.sap.com profile and download their data and keep a copy of it or something like that. But we will be contacting the users. Otherwise, it's just a pure technical migration. The content's already been moved in. We've actually, as I said, we've done it twice now. And we've done that because we're also testing to make sure everything works, but we're also testing to see how long the migration actually takes, which goes to the next question: will there be a freeze? Yes, there will be a freeze. And we're figuring out how long that freeze actually will be. It will happen in December with the migration, at what point we have to freeze the site because it needs to be basically read only, no changes taking place as we move everything in, so everything can get readjusted and reset, and all the permissions and values and rank ladder and all of that stuff applied. All right, so will old content be migrated to the new platform? Absolutely, that's the whole point. We're moving the content. However, as I just mentioned, there is a possibility that we won't move all content. We're looking at that right now. We're doing a lot of analysis on the content, what that actually means. For example, just looking at my content, I've got, a couple of dozen blog posts that haven't seen any activity in probably 5 years. Do I really need to bring those content with me? Probably not. But we're evaluating all of that today. Otherwise, we're on top of it with Google indexing, with search engine optimization, with the search engine indexing and everything like that. And of course, making sure there's all redirects and everything like that are in place. So if you have, if you've bookmarked in Edge or Chrome or Firefox or Safari, those bookmarks will of course continue to work without problem. And what we're really excited for is that the platform provides RSS subscriptions on multiple levels in multiple areas. And that's a really exciting opportunity for us. It's very cool. You as a user would then be able to determine, how do I want to get my updates? How do I want to get my information? You can also go into the system and adjust your own notifications with daily or weekly digests and things like that as well. But the whole idea is that we want to make sure you have every possibility to consume the content in the way that you want and what makes you happy for. All right. And with that, I will take a breath, have a drink, and see if there's any additional questions for us. Anything in the chat or anything?
Greg, I'm just gonna, Lena, do you see any questions in the chat? I don't.
Tammy had one question. Will the points carry over from the reputation?
Okay. Well, Tammy, I think I did address that actually as I was speaking. So you can just give us an indication in the chat if I answered your question or if I need to dive deeper on that one.
It might have been due to a little delay because we're streaming from Zoom to YouTube, and it's like a 8 to 10 second delay always. So maybe she posted the question when you actually explained it, but
okay, no
we'll
worries.
let her clarify.
No worries at all. No worries at all. I just pulled up the chat. I think I asked it before you covered it. Okay, so I think we're good then. So again, the calls here that we're doing is all for all of you. We want to make sure that you get an opportunity, ask your questions, see things. Some of the future calls will actually be doing live sessions where we show in the system how to do things and everything like that. And we want to make sure that you have available information to you. My original blog post on the migration also links to a discussion thread, so you can actually use that discussion thread to follow up on any questions that you might have. And we definitely highly recommend you subscribe to the What's New area because we will be posting more frequently there, news, updates, changes. For example, the migration was posted there. The UI changes that went live today were posted and shared there. So we will be using that on a more regular, frequent basis. So it's absolutely, in your best interest to go ahead and subscribe to that as well. All right. And with that, Greetings from Germany to Northern Virginia. Absolutely cool. Our earlier call, we had Columbia, Washington, D.C., and a couple of other areas popped in. So it's always great to see this. And we're happy to be able to do this for everybody and to be able to provide all of these updates and information. So very much appreciate everybody showing up. We're not going to drag this out or anything like that. If you have any questions now, or if you want, you can add them to the discussion thread and ask them there. Thank you so much for attending, and we'll give it maybe 2 more minutes to see if any further questions come in. Otherwise, we'll call it. And hi to Juliet. All right. So Stacy, I'll turn it back over to you while we wait out if there's any final questions.
Yeah, you know, Craig, in closing, one more point to add to this last slide is our next call is scheduled for October 17th. However, if there is a need or want, if the community would like us to come together sooner, we're more than happy to do that. But that's our next call, and we'll dive deeper into the migration topics, and we're looking forward to just continuing to bring us together. This is one of many ways of outreach to each of you, and again, to bring us together. So thank you.